So you're moving to Joliet, Illinois, and you've been dialed in on your search to find you that next property for you to call home. I'm talking about you've been locked in. You've been on Realtor.com, Redfin, Zillow, hell, maybe even Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. You compiled a list of all these homes that you like, but you're finding a common theme though that's maybe leaving you a little bit discouraged. You're looking at that list price and you're thinking to yourself, maybe it's just a little bit more than what I'm actually willing to spend given the current interest rate environment that we currently live in. Well, hey, I got you back with this video. I'm glad you're watching. In this very video, what I talk about are the top 5 best neighborhoods right here in Joliet, Illinois that probably contain the most opportunity when we think about arbitrage. What we're finding is in these very neighborhoods, some of these homes are actually selling below market value, waiting for a buyer just like you to come in, add value to these properties, have a little patience, have an investor mindset, force the appreciation for you to one day put it back on the market, get top dollar for you to then perform a trade up strategy to get you into a property that will fit your ever growing and changing needs as life progresses. If this sounds like you, you're going to want to make sure you stick around. If this is your first time, I want to welcome you to my page, Living in Joliet, where I cover all things from living, eating, sleeping, playing right here in Joliet, Illinois. And I see that you stuck around, so make sure you click that subscribe button, bang that notification bell so that you're notified of any and all future videos I do make. I try my best to make sure I make one every single week so that you get the most out of your Joliet life. And as always, guys, Gregory Amos, Remax Ultimate Professionals, and the response that I've been getting from these videos has just been amazing as I get tons of calls, tons of emails, tons of text messages from individuals all over actually planning and relocating right here to the Joliet, Illinois area. And I love it. I love it, guys. I want to make sure that we keep it going. So make sure you guys keep reaching out. I love the conversations and the dialogues that we've been having. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Top 5 neighborhoods right here in Joliet, Illinois that contain the most opportunity to set you up for long-term financial success. So coming in at number 5 on the best neighborhoods right here in Joliet, Illinois, where you can spot and find a lot of arbitrage when we talk about the real estate and the real estate market here in Joliet, Illinois. A lot, if not all, these neighborhoods I'm going to talk about inside this specific video are very, very underrated neighborhoods to actually live in and actually to potentially include inside of your investment strategy if you are an individual who wants some exposure to a real asset like real estate. We're going to talk about Forest Park right here located in Joliet, Illinois. The location of Forest Park is located on the northeast quadrant right here in Joliet, Illinois, right before and meets Lockport, Illinois. Forest Park is home to 2 major attractions. When we think about Forest Park, one of the major attractions is the Joliet Old Prison or the Joliet Historic Prison, or not the Historic Prison, but the Haunted Prison. And also, too, a part of Joliet's past, it was once home to the Joliet Drive-In Movie Theater, where a lot of individuals, let's say in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and I think a little bit in the 90s too, actually went in to enjoy a movie. You get more out of life when you visit a movie. If anybody gets that reference, definitely leave a comment and let me know. But touching on the Haunted Prison, the Haunted Prison is an area or is an attraction right here in Joliet that attracts a lot of tourists from across Chicagoland, but also across our country. And it actually is on the bucket list of a lot of individuals. You'd actually be surprised and to actually learn about that. To actually come here, take tours of the prison, and also learn about a lot of the famous inmates that did some time down there at the old Haunted Prison. Also, a fun fact about the Haunted Prison is actually where the first season of Prison Break was actually filmed and also shot too, right there in Joliet, which a lot of individuals here, if they actually go out of town, they're bringing up, oh, where you're from? Oh, I'm from Joliet. Oh, where is that at? It's actually where, you ever watch Prison Break? Yep, they actually shot the first season right there in Joliet, and it kind of is a nice connection point, a nice conversation piece right there, or for a lot of locals that actually go around and actually visit. But touching on The neighborhood right here in Forest Park. Forest Park is home to a great elementary school, which I just walked past, called Forest Park IE. Forest Park IE, or that IE stands for individualized education, where the staff, the teachers, the whole community and the culture really focus on making sure that your child gets an individualized, personalized approach to the education. So let's say if your child has, let's say, some learning disabilities, you can definitely have confidence to know that, hey, my kid is in the school where, as a culture, the staff really focus on making sure your child isn't left behind, but their needs are actually being catered towards. And it's also overall a great school. Now, I was an individual that had any learning disabilities. I read a little bit slow in my younger life, but I kind of picked that up. But it's a great school that actually, I spent a year here and met a lot of great people. The reason why I want to touch on that school being right here, because it makes it a very underrated place to actually find and actually acquire some rental property around a great school like this. I know a lot of investors that like to invest particularly toward great schools or neighborhoods that have great schools, which we have one right here with Forest Park. Being that, hey, you got a young family in here, maybe a single mother in here, you know that, hey, once this kid is inside the school, that mom, that couple, it's gonna be very hard pressed to actually leave because that kid's gonna grow relationships with a lot of his friends inside of school, the teachers inside of school. It's gonna be very hard pressed to leave. So maybe once that kid goes to junior high school or high school, then they actually, wanna move out. But from an investor, right, that's how you get, a 1 year, a 2 year, a 3 year, a 4 year, 5 year tenant, thus increasing your return on your investment, your cash on cash return, and overall peace of mind knowing that, hey, you have a great solid tenant that's hardworking, that has kids, that actually go to the school district here. So that's one reason why Forest Park is a very, very underrated, very, very underrated neighborhood in which to find and spot a lot of great deals here in Joliet. So, a little bit more about Forest Park. Again, I'm gonna tell you the whole story about Forest Park. Forest Park is named AKA the Hill, right? A lot of locals call it the Hill. So let's say if an individual comes and talks to you, having a conversation with them, like, hey, I have family on the hill, or I gotta go to the hill. They're doing this nice firework display. They're talking about Forest Park right here. The reason why it's coined or called the hill, Forest Park, is actually sits on a very, very big old hill. So depending on where you actually drive up to get to Forest Park, you're gonna notice very quickly, you gotta drive up that hill to get right here to Forest Park, or this specific neighborhood. I like Forest Park, and again, it's a great area in which you can spot a lot of arbitrage in terms of the values, because Forest Park has done its best, and is continuing to do its best to actually turn the corner from its past. If you know about Forest Park was home to what we know, or once known as the Fairview Projects. A lot of locals call it maybe the first project, or even the second project here in Joliet, Illinois. Back in 2009, either 2009 or 2011, the Forest Park, or the Fairview Projects, was actually demolished as it was coined a crime hub, maybe a war zone, and things along those lines. A personal story about me, I actually had family. My auntie, she actually lived inside the Fairview Projects. I had a lot of fun inside of them. We spent a little bit of time, so I can definitely speak to it. But it's gone now, and ever since then, Forest Park, or this specific neighborhood, has definitely turned the corner and is working to become a more and more desirable neighborhood to actually live in and actually grow a family right here inside of Forest Park. The bad thing about Forest Park, or the Fairview Projects, has been demolished, is actually displaced a lot of individuals right here in the city of Joliet that actually benefited from that fair housing building or complex being right here inside of Fairview. So it's unfortunate for them, but in terms of pushing progress and pushing towards the future, I think it was a great thing that had to be done right here inside this specific neighborhood. Now, Forest Park, when we talk about real estate and why you can spot and find a lot of arbitrage opportunities, is because right here in Forest Park, and as well as potentially all the neighborhoods I talk about inside this video. There's a variety of real estate options and also real estate price points and selling points here inside of Forest Park. Right, you have these single family homes, you have the duplexes, you have the triplexes, you have some apartment complexes, you have the 2 flats too as well. But also you have some deals out there, homes that may have a few signs of distress, in which you can actually acquire, put some sweat equity into it, get the curb appeal looking right, make it look aesthetically pleasing when we think about the cosmetics, and in turn put a great product back on the market to either flip or get a tenant back inside that property to rent out, and to actually enjoy the house for a few or however many years. Being that, again, finding deals in this specific area is definitely overlooked. So having a guy that you can, partner with, like myself, who's willing to put boots on the ground through cold call to build relationships with members of this specific community, can in turn, one, do a great deal for you when we talk about building your wealth and setting you up for financial success, but also two, for the neighborhood, as you're doing a great deal to increase the rate at which this specific neighborhood in Joliet actually appreciates. One thing I want to touch on about Forest Park has a good number of lots that are vacant. And I think it's all about perspective when you see a neighborhood that has a lot of vacant lots, right? My perspective is that, hey, there's a lot of opportunity in which you can create and build a lot of wealth for yourself. One, but also two, do a great deal for the neighbors or the owners inside the specific neighborhood. When we think about, let's say you do put this thing back on the market and get top dollar for it, the neighbors hear about it like, oh, well, man, thank you for actually doing that. But also for yourself, you made a bag on it. You can go back to the next project, and from an investor mindset, it allows you to maximize your profits, your value, your wealth. And Forest Park is a great neighborhood to actually have on your short list when we think about investing inside of a real asset like real estate right here in Joliet, Illinois. I don't know if you can see it, but a prime example of what I'm talking about is a home that I walked past. I'm gonna try to get over there right now, but if not, I'll walk a little bit backwards and point to it. See that home right there? You can tell that home is a newer built, newer construction type of home right there, where that individual seen the opportunity of vacant land. That lot looks like it's at least on a ½ acre of land, and built a very, very nice estate for himself, maybe for his family, which he's living in currently, to the point where when it comes time to actually put that home back on the market, that home there is going to be worth, hell, at best, low 3s, mid 3s, pushed up to maybe the 4s. So there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of desirable lots here inside of Forest Park in which you can do just that. And also, last thing I want to touch about Forest Park, when you drive around the neighborhood, you're going to see a lot of duplexes, right? So let's say if you're a younger guy and one of these duplexes actually come on the market, it creates a great opportunity for you to actually house hack a bit to where you can live in one unit, but also get a tenant in the other unit and then benefit from the income that the tenant actually generates to the point where they pay some, if not all, of your mortgage, and you can benefit from the excess cash flow to either build up your equity a little bit faster so that you can make moves later on in life to continue to add on your investment portfolio or to build your dream home one of these days. So it gives you a great opportunity to actually think about and have Forest Park on your list when you think about investing in hard assets like real estate, like land. And Forest Park is an opportunity, well, it's a neighborhood that boasts a lot of opportunity and is primed for real estate development, and also a lot of rehab projects can be found right here in Forest Park, Illinois. So that's number 5 on our list of neighborhoods here in Joliet that you can spot a lot of arbitrage opportunities when we talk about the values here in Joliet, Illinois. Coming in at number 4 on the best neighborhoods here in Joliet in which you can spot and find great arbitrage when we talk about real estate and the real estate market here in Joliet has to be the historic east side of Joliet, Illinois. Now, first things first, I want to start off just with a personal story about the east side of Joliet. I was actually born on the south end of Joliet in the projects that were actually demolished, and a new subdivision actually sits there, a beautiful subdivision. Moved to the east side of Joliet and stayed here to about the age of 8, to where then we moved over to the west side of Joliet. But I say that to say that the east side of Joliet, I think it's a fine place to actually be and actually live. Because my personal experiences here, I've got a lot of lifelong friends that I met right here on the east side of Joliet too. And also the school was here, going to Key, was just fantastic. So the east side of Joliet, that's my personal story. But as to why this is a great area in which you can actually spot a lot of arbitrage here in Joliet, Illinois, is because one of two things. There are streets here on the east side of Joliet that may appreciate a little bit slower compared to other streets on the east side of Joliet, and also Joliet in total. But there are some nice streets here on the east side of Joliet that definitely appreciate at a rate of 8-10% here in Joliet, Illinois. Now, being that you're on the historic east side of Joliet, again, there's a lot of property here on the east side that are of a historic nature. So when you think about investing long-term as tax efficiently as possible, you can find you a nice historic home if it's on the market or if it's off market, to where you can earn a lot of tax credits investing and actually buying that home there. The east side of Joliet is actually a place here in Joliet that is zoned a federal opportunity zone here too. The benefit about that, let's say if you're a flipper or you're a slow flipper, it actually allows you to defer capital gains taxes and buy your next property sort of tax-free if you can buy it within 180-day grace period from exiting your last project. So there's a lot of opportunity right here on the east side of Joliet. The reason why I like the east side of Joliet so much is that the east side of Joliet, you can find a lot of deals here on the east side of Joliet. Some of the homes here on the east side of Joliet definitely have a lot of distress signals, whether it's boarded up, high grass, the gutters look crazy, but again, it's all about perspective. You can be an individual like, hey, you know what, that means there's a lot of opportunity there, a lot of opportunity to, one, grow your wealth, but also two, do a number for a lot of the owners that actually are here inside of the east side, or the historic east side of Joliet. When we talk about real estate here on the east side of Joliet, again, there's a variety of options here inside the east side of Joliet. Again, we have the single family homes, duplexes, fourplexes, duplexes, but also seeing a lot of new construction, newer builds, just like the property behind me, simply because there are a number of vacant lots here on the east side of Joliet that are very desirable size, between that quarter-acre lot to half-acre lot, some even a lot bigger. But again, it's all about perspective. You could be an individual like, oh, another vacant lot on the east side of Joliet. But also, you could be an individual like, oh, that's a vacant lot. We can definitely put a nice product there for an individual to actually enjoy living in that specific real estate and grow a great family right there too. Put it back in the market, create a new comp for the neighborhood, and by doing that, everybody benefits. Not only yourself, you benefit the most, but also the neighbors too. So when it's time for them to sell, the rate at which that specific neighborhood or that street has grown, because of you are the one that actually took the risk. Now, you might ask yourself, it's not my job, or tell yourself, it's not my job to force appreciation in a specific street or a specific neighborhood here on the historic east side of Joliet. And my response to that is yes and no. Yes, it's not your job too. You may be a little bit more of a risk-adverse investor, but let's say if you are a risk-seeking investor, the east side of Joliet may be a prime playground for you, because you can actually, again, find a lot of opportunity in terms of the deals you can actually find. And there's individuals, as we speak, searching for them and also hunting for them, but there's a lot less competition too, because there are some investors that are a little bit more risk averse that want to stay away from the historic east side of Joliet. But again, there's a lot of opportunity that can be found right here that can really benefit you from a long-term investment standpoint, and a lot of incentive to actually do that, being that it's located inside of a federal opportunity zone. You can see that example right here, as this is a very, very nice property that was rehabbed. Not too sure if the owner lived in it or put it back on the market for another family to enjoy, but I think it takes perspective to actually see the opportunity. It takes a little bit more risk to actually invest in an area like the east side of Joliet, but in turn, you're doing such a good one for yourself in terms of your own personal finances and your own financial outlook, but also too for the specific neighborhood right here and the owners here on the east side of Joliet. Now the east side of Joliet, a lot of the east side of Joliet is located inside of a floodplain. So knowing that before you do purchase a property, whether you're looking to actually buy inside this neighborhood or invest inside this neighborhood, it's important because it definitely raises your insurance premiums up, maybe $50 to another $100 a month. But there are ways to actually get that specific property out of said floodplain if you know the right guy to call that actually does that line of work and actually specializes in doing things like that, which lowers your cost on a month-to-month basis and saves you a lot of money at the end of the day. So going a little bit deeper as to why the historic east side of Joliet is a great location in which you can find and spot a lot of arbitrage opportunity in terms of the real estate market here. Again, it's because of the variety of real estate here in Joliet in terms of the price points and selling points here in Joliet. You have homes that sell for $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, but also homes that are on the market for that mid-2s to high 3s. So it's a variety of comps. The downside to a variety of comps here on the east side of Joliet, let's say you do find a property and your end game is to flip it, that appraiser will have to look at all the comps that look like said property, and actually may cause the property not to appraise at said value at price point or at contract price. So aligning yourself up with a great agent who can price out your property effectively, but also contest said appraisal, like, hey, you forgot about this comp, you forgot about this comp, you forgot about this comp, can actually do you a good one and advocate for your best interests at the end of the day. So that's one of the value adds and the value finds with finding a great agent to actually work with, especially when you're thinking about investing inside of the historic east side of Joliet. So another reason as to why I really love the historic east side of Joliet and why I feel that you can find a lot of arbitrage when we talk about the real estate market here in the east side of Joliet, it's because there's a number of vacant lots actually vacant here on the east side of Joliet. When we talk about those quarter acres, those half acres, pushing up a little bit towards that acre lot, these are the same lot sizes that are just going like crazy in other parts of Joliet, Illinois. Being so, a quick lot story, let's say you had a younger guy at the time who bought a lot of lots or bought 1, 2, 3, however many lots. His goal was maybe to build on said lot and put a great product on the market. Times passed and life kind of passing by to the point where now he has X amount of many lots and he's paying taxes on these lots, to where he gets a call from a guy like myself saying, hey, I have a buyer who's willing to buy your lot and thinks it may be a great fit for him. He may entertain it a little bit below market value, and then you come in, take down a lot, but also put a great product on the market, whether it's a duplex, a single family home, whatever, it's a newer build. And by doing that, you can actually grow a lot of your wealth by taking that strategy, because there's less and less amount of competition, especially for those desirable lots that are still on the market here on the east side of Joliet. So that's another reason why I think the The historic East Side is one of the best neighborhoods here in Joliet to actually find and actually spot a lot of opportunity in terms of the real estate market specific towards this area. So coming in at number 3 on the best neighborhoods and areas in Joliet at which you can find great opportunities for arbitrage in our local real estate market here in Joliet comes in as Evergreen in the lower Bluff of Joliet. Before I talk about Evergreen in the lower Bluff of Joliet, I have to say that Evergreen in the lower Bluff has some very nice and beautiful historic homes. Look at this property right here. Man, you can tell that property dates back well into the age or the era of the Civil War. You can definitely find those type of properties here in Evergreen and Lower Bluff. The location of Evergreen in the Lower Bluff is on the west side of Joliet, but it's just west of Des Plaines River. So let's say you're driving down Jefferson Street, crossing the Jefferson Street Bridge, heading over to downtown, or you're on Western Avenue and you're crossing that bridge, heading back towards the west side or the far west side. Evergreen is located right in that pocket, right before you do cross and head over to the downtown area. I love Evergreen. Evergreen is home to the Bicentennial Park, where the Bicentennial Park is a place where it's an awesome park, but also too you can see a lot of great scenery, whether you're walking down Bicentennial Park for the views of Des Plaines River, Harris Casino, but also it's a great place for the arts and crafts too, where there's a lot of acting classes and a lot for kids to actually do and actually explore the art scene here in Joliet, Illinois. Talking about a little bit about the real estate here in Evergreen, again, holds a variety of real estates, whether it's single family home, duplexes, 2 flats, 4plexes, even some commercial real estate when we think about units that are 4+ units. The thing that makes Evergreen a prime location and an opportunity to actually spot a lot of arbitrage, because Evergreen sees a lot of external obsolescence. Being that you're on one of the busiest streets or the busiest areas here in Joliet, let's say I'm walking on Hickory Street right now. Hickory Street actually plays off I-80, where there's a lot of traffic from I-80 that comes down Hickory Street, heading up towards, let's say, a Crest Hill, Romeoville, or Bolingbrook. And on top of that, you see a lot of big trucks driving down at Evergreen too as well. So that can cause a lot of noise. But also too, Evergreen is next to the local bridges in Des Plaines River, heading to or from downtown Joliet or the west side of Joliet. Those bridges causes a lot of traffic to be backed up at times when those bridges are up. There's times where those bridges are under maintenance for an extended period of times. And all that can actually play and lead to some streets inside of the lower Bluff to actually appreciate a little bit lower. But if you lead with it within perspective, like, okay, I know this area attracts a lot of tenants. I know this area, I can find me a great deal. I know this area is located in an opportunity zone. All that can actually play into you creating a nice opportunity yourself, being a savvy investor or a savvy first-time home buyer, where you can come in and with some of these properties, force appreciation, and then do a great number for yourself, and again, also for the community on that specific street. So it's a great area and a great option I wouldn't overlook, simply because of some factors you can't control when you're trying to actually set yourself up for a strong financial future, maybe even a financial head start, right? So it takes strategy, it takes knowledge of the local market, it takes partnerships with the right individuals and agents to give you the information to make Evergreen and the Lower Bluff really work for you. because there are a lot of great people down here. And also desirable too, in a sense. But also, again, a lot of opportunity down here, which makes it comes in at number 3 on the best neighborhoods here in Joliet, and which you can find and spot a lot of arbitrage opportunities when we think about the local real estate market here in Joliet. So, coming in at number 2 on the best neighborhoods and areas here in Joliet, Illinois, where you can find a lot of arbitrage opportunity when we think about our local real estate market here in Joliet, Illinois. We're going to talk about Patterson Road all the way up to Zarley Boulevard. Yes, the first thing is first about Patterson Road, just a personal story. I've actually had a lot of family that actually lived and grew up inside of this specific neighborhood, and I think it's an awesome neighborhood. It's very relatively peaceful. There's a lot of churches in this specific neighborhood, but also a very nice park too, where a lot of cookouts happen in the summertime, with a nice little outdoor basketball court too, where a lot of talent was grown and actually cultivated right there on that park. When we think about right here in Patterson Road, the reason why you can find a lot of arbitrage opportunity here, thinking about our local real estate market here in Joliet, Illinois, first things first, there's a lot of ranch style, smaller starter homes right here in the Patterson Road neighborhood. Being that there are some homes that you can find that do have those signs of distress in them, whether it's the shingles, the roof is a little bit shiny, whether it's a little bit taller grass, this, that, and the third. But it creates opportunity for you being maybe a first-time buyer using a FHA construction loan, but also investors to actually come in, rehab the property, and really capture a lot of potential capital gains, and to really do a good one for the specific underrated neighborhood here in Joliet. And also, it's a neighborhood in which it's overlooked, and a lot of investors, I can say, potentially even stay away for reasons I don't know. The thing I love about Patterson Road as well, from a real estate perspective, is that Patterson Road does also have a number of vacant lots. And if you're paying attention in my earlier video, those vacant lots can be developed, built on, put back on the market to, one, sell, but also two, get a great tenant inside of here that will really enjoy the property. I love Patterson Road because a lot of the residents that actually live here, hell, they stay to themselves and they mind their business. So shout out to everybody who actually lives here. In terms of real estate, there are some streets here within a specific pocket that may rise at a little bit lower appreciation rates. But again, it's a great opportunity, especially if you're more of a risk-seeking type of buyer or a risk-seeking type of investor, to really enforce appreciation in a specific area, simply because you can find you a lot of great deals on the same street, to where you can kind of control the market and really create newer comps that, one, you benefit off of, but also two, whatever owners, again, that actually live on that same street will benefit from too, longer term. So you may even create an opportunity for yourself where, hell, you pick up a deal that leads into two, a neighbor sees that you're doing a great job for the area, that leads into 3, 4, or 5, to where you either flip almost the entire neighborhood, or you own a good chunk of a block. Again, thus controlling the market, and also potentially opportunity to control the rental market too here in Patterson Road. So it's a neighborhood that is underrated. It's a neighborhood that's overlooked. It's a neighborhood in which you can create a lot of wealth right here inside of this specific neighborhood. So Patterson Road is a great place for first-time home buyers that have a strategy, that know the market, that have a plan, and also some patience. It's a great opportunity. Again, comes in as number 2 on our list of great neighborhoods here in Joliet, in which you can spot and find a lot of arbitrage opportunity here in our local real estate market. Coming in at the number 1 top spot on where you can locate and find great arbitrage when we think about real estate here in the local real estate market in Joliet. Before I reveal it, I want to let you know that I appreciate you staying the whole video. It's been tons of fun giving you some education on where you can find great opportunities that are underrated and potentially overlooked right here in the market. Let's get straight down to it. We're going to talk about the south end of Joliet. First things first about the south end of Joliet, the location of the south end of Joliet. I need you to picture it. You're driving down McDonough Street just as you cross the Des Plaines River, headed over that bridge between McDonough Street and you go all the way down to Chicago Street. That little pocket right there is the south end of Joliet, aka the end of Joliet. Now, touching on the real estate and why this is such a great area in which you can find a lot of opportunity when you think about arbitrage. The south end of Joliet is an area inside of Joliet that, again, experiences some external obstacles. Of course, these are things that we can't control that actually play into the values and why specific streets or areas may appreciate a lot slower compared to other areas in specific streets in whatever real estate market. Today we're talking about the Joliet real estate market. External lessons when we think about I-80 bridge that's right there, kind of goes through the south end of Joliet. Again, being that Joliet has a huge logistical presence, you will see a lot of semi-trucks too going through the south end of Joliet. But also, being that you're right there off Des Plaines River, you do have to compete with the timing at which those bridges go up and also go down. When it goes up, it can also create a lot of traffic right there on that main intersection right here in Joliet. Now let's talk about some functional obsolescence. These are things that actually can be cured and things in which you can control when actually finding deals and actually spotting arbitrage here in our local real estate market. There are some homes here in the south end of Joliet that need some work. When we look at, let's say, a roof here, or really in any neighborhood, let's say if that roof is a little bit more shiny or has a slick to it, you can kind of tell that, hey, that roof maybe needs a little bit more work or needs to be replaced and maybe have some shingles, a few layers on the bottom of it. That's a great indicator that, hey, that's a roof that needs some work, and a potential indicator that, hey, maybe the inside of that property may need to be replaced or not, may need some work as well. Also, guys, you want to check out the gutters when you're looking at a potential home to actually call your home or even an investment property. Let's say if those gutters are full, they haven't been cleaned, and let's say that house is very, very close to a tree or a tree line, that can cause a lot of leaves and branches to actually fall on the tree, thus aging the roof a lot more faster. And also, another thing that you want to think about too are those downspouts. And let's say, for instance, those downspouts aren't exiting away or leading away from the property properly, they're not properly installed, can cause a lot of moisture to settle right next to the foundation, seep into the ground. And when you think about a harsh climate like the Chicagoland area, you experience harsh winters and sometimes harsh summers where that water can expand and contract right next to that foundation, causing a lot of wear and tear on that foundation, thus leading it to potentially crack and crumble over time, lessening its useful life over time too as well. So that causes a lot of risk on a potential home buyer or a potential investor to actually come in and look at and be able to evaluate whether this may be a good deal or not for that individual. And also too, on the south end of Joliet, there are a few properties, not too many of them, that are actually boarded up. Now, again, all about perspective. Another individual may say, oh my God, look at this neighborhood. But another individual may say, hey, this is a gold mine waiting. I can do a great number for my wealth long term, but also for my community, and really help them out and really provide them either a new comp or a great tenant and really improve the value of the neighborhood in general. So there are ways in which you can, again, spot those opportunities for arbitrage, force appreciation in a specific house, in turn, on a macro view, increase the appreciation rates over this specific great neighborhood here in the south end of Joliet. And lastly, I have to remind you that the south end of Joliet is located in a federal opportunity zone in which it's an incentive put in place to spark economic activity from businesses, from individuals, from corporations, from investors to come in here and really see this as an opportunity to really improve this community. In turn, allows you to defer capital gains for your next project and invest as strategic and tax efficient as possible, thus creating a lot of wealth and opportunity for the individual who may be a little bit more of a risk seeker to see this as an opportunity in all of these areas as a potential prime place for investment and economic growth. So, all right guys, you did it. You stayed the entire video. It's been my pleasure showing you the top 5 neighborhoods right here in Joliet, Illinois that contain the most opportunity to set you up for long-term financial success. I hope that you learned a lot and feel more than welcome always to reach out to me. As always, Gregory Amos, RE/MAX Ultimate Professionals. Get tons of calls, tons of text messages, tons of emails from individuals all over actually looking and actually planning to relocate right here to Joliet, Illinois. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, bang that notification bell so that you're notified of any and all future videos I do make. I try my best to make one every single week. Until next time, guys, we'll talk soon.